Well, thanks for that, Brad. Just on my way out the door for Thanksgiving, and the Leafs make a trade. It's a little one, but kind of an interesting one. This isn't the full turkey dinner. This is the little sandwich that you make after, like a few hours after. You're like, I'm peckish. Do we have the tweet? Summer? Thank you, CJ. The Toronto Maple Leafs trade Sam Lafferty to the Vancouver Canucks for a 5th round pick. The pick is a 2024 5th round pick, and I had to remind myself, that's this upcoming draft. I have to, flip the calendar forward. Now, last season, mostly with the Chicago Blackhawks, but he ended up getting traded to the Leafs in the big Jake McCabe deal. Sam Lafferty got to enjoy far and away the most productive season of his NHL career with 12 goals and 27 points. Versatile player, kind of the definition of jack of all trades, master of none. He can sort of play the left wing. I don't think we saw it very much in Toronto. Can play a little bit of center, although he's not great at it. He's better suited to be a right winger, probably. He can play with a little bit of grit. He's willing to drop the gloves. He can lay a few hits. He can chip in a few goals, and he can be a part of your depth offense and kill penalties. Jeez, he can kind of do everything. You can see why the Leafs would have wanted him in that trade for Jake McCabe, especially heading into the playoffs. But the problem, or the solution, depending on how you looked at it, is he makes over $1 million, over $1.1 million for this upcoming season as well. Now the Leafs are being sneaky. They're being sneaky Pete's. I don't know exactly what they're up to, but they're going to lose some guys on waivers, and they had to put a bunch of guys on waivers. Here's the list, actually, from CJ. Simone Benoit played most of his season in the NHL last year. He's on waivers. Kyle Clifford, Dylan Gambrell, Martin Jones, 27 wins last year. He probably gets claimed. We'll talk about that. William Lagesson and Maxime Lajoie. All those guys are on waivers, and if you watched my video yesterday, sort of doing ballpark cap crunching for the Leafs this year, Sam Lafferty, no matter how well he played in that last preseason game or how well he did for the Leafs in the playoffs, it was going to be really difficult from a numbers standpoint for him to make the team. It just was. Maybe if Nylander stayed at center and the team didn't have plans for Minton, maybe there could have been a hole on the right wing. And I mean, there was a hole on the right wing. We saw Sam Lafferty play some practices with the second line next to Tavares, which a lot of people overreacted to, maybe me included, but that always struck me as more of a placeholder position during an injury, Yarncroaks, for example, than something the Leafs were actually going to try. Now, the bummer here is the Leafs are losing a useful player. He might not be your favorite player, but he's versatile. If any forward gets hurt, you can basically plug him into one of the fourth or even third line positions, especially if it's early in the season. And he doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Finally looked up the exact cap hit, $1.15 million. It's really not much. So you don't want to lose a useful player, but you really don't want to lose a useful player for nothing, which is probably what was going to happen if he was placed on waivers. So at least the Leafs got something for him, which begs a question. If you're the Vancouver Canucks and you knew this guy was going to go on waivers, you were pretty confident he was going to go on waivers, why wouldn't you just claim him? Especially considering the Canucks have a pretty decent waiver selection position because they didn't make the playoffs last year. This is actually a nice little piece of business from Brad Treliving because he got a 5th round pick for a guy he knew he was going to lose. And the Canucks liked Lafferty enough that they gave up a 5th round pick. It's not much, but it's an asset for a player who only 10 teams ahead of the Canucks could have claimed. The Canucks finished 11th from the bottom last year, so they must have thought that one of the Ducks, Blue Jackets, Blackhawks, Sharks, Canadians, Coyotes, Flyers, Capitals, wow, they were really bad last year, Red Wings, Blues, would have picked up Lafferty off of waivers. I mean, to me, the number one culprit would probably be the Blackhawks on account of that's who Lafferty played for last year, and there's not a ton of players who play for that hockey team, but it kind of shows Lafferty's value throughout the league, that not only would he definitely have gotten claimed, but someone who had a pretty good shot at getting him for free was willing to give up an asset to make sure that they got him. Now, really quickly on Martin Jones, will he clear? It's hard to know. It's really hard to know. He's looked okay in the preseason. His numbers have been consistently awful in the regular season for the last half decade plus. He's a decent little third option. Is a team like Tampa going to pick him up? And I think this is the big question if you're a Leaf fan, because you don't want to help out a divisional rival, especially for free. The cap situation in Tampa is kind of tricky. Jones makes, I believe it's $875,000. Hopefully that's enough money to scare Tampa away. I don't think that's going to happen. Likely what happens is the Leafs place Martin Jones on waivers, Tampa claims him, and when Vasilevsky comes back, he probably gets put back on waivers unless they put Jonas Johansson on waivers. If you drew Martin Jones for Secret Santa, a good idea for a gift might be a suitcase. I think he's going to be pinging around this year. He might be on several teams. All the other guys on waivers, Benoit, I wouldn't be totally shocked to see him get claimed. I know he hasn't been great this preseason, but he played a lot last year. Gambrell, he's been hurt. Lagesson, maybe, but I doubt it. Maxime Lajoie, it's a possibility. The roster, it's all coming together. Sam Lafferty, no longer on the Toronto Maple Leafs, which means someone else will be. And that's exciting. Who's it going to be? Leave a comment in the comment box down below. But for now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell your friends. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving.